Welcome back, YouTube, Twitter. Hope all is going well. We are back past the prop for Monday Night Football plays. Obviously, going to recap Week 13. And, we're going to get after it today. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. What's going on, my friend?
Yeah, interesting game today for Monday Night Football purposes. This is probably the most brutal week of primetime games all year, counting the Thursday night game, which there is no chance we're going to talk about. So if you're looking for anything other than pass the prop on Wednesday when you come in here, it's going to be NBA maybe, because what are we going to do? That's already tough enough, right? But today, obviously Jacksonville and the Bengals minus Joe Burrow becomes a little bit less exciting. This could have been, theoretically, I'm sure when the schedule makers made this, two young quarterbacks going head to head, playoffs on the line. It was a big deal at one point, but unfortunately, it's not looking like a very high volume game. Luckily, I have one bet in this game that I really like. I only really plan to make one or two bets in this game all week. So at least looking forward to share that here. Hopefully we would make some money, even if the game gets a little bit ugly.
Yeah, sorry to burst your bubble, but this counts towards the Dallas-Seattle week. We had to push this towards week 13, which was one of the best primetime games. This is a part of that one. We just get to look forward to this Thursday game where I was going to say there's no chance we do NFL for fucking Thursday. That might be the worst game of all time. Talking about that, did you see the box score of that Chargers game with them?
Unfortunately, if you're in my Discord, you already know. Not only did I actually watched the whole game. Like I had a screen dedicated to that game. Well, let's just say I had a very large sum of money coming my way if either Tyquan Thornton or Mike Gesicki were able to have a good game. Because late night at 2 a.m, I was hammering those numbers, man. They were like, Tyquan Thornton is the wide receiver 3. He had 2 touchdowns a couple times last year. Like he was involved last year, showed some big play potential. He was 10-62 to have 60 yards. He was 20-50 to have 70 yards. I've never seen that with a wide receiver 3 against such a terrible defense. And if you watch the first quarter, it looked like they might be able to score at one point. Like Zappe didn't look awful from the jump. He had a couple sacks, but it was like, okay, but man, nothing. He had a 39-yard run. If that was a catch, I still would have cashed some very nice plus money, but man, obviously didn't end up cashing. But yeah, long answer to your question. I unfortunately did watch that game much more than probably anyone else out there.
Yeah, and luckily, you didn't have any anytime touchdown scores. My God, that was just brutal, bro. I didn't watch that one at all. But yeah, there was not. I don't think for the noon round of games. I just watched the Commanders game a little bit there, and my God, man, that game was so frustrating, man. I don't know how you deal with it, man. That shit is so bad. Like, why are you playing Tyreek one-on-one? Answer me that question. Like, it doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, let Jalen Waddle beat you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least think a little bit, man. It was just so crazy to me to watch that game and just watch Tyreek pretty much do whatever he wanted when he wanted.
Yeah, and like that first play of the game, right? This is like your scripted play time. This is when you're supposed to be locked in. That first Tyreek Hill catch, he had one-on-one man coverage with no safety over the top against our rookie second-round pick safety that's played like 20 snaps all season. There's no safety that can one-on-one guard Tyreek Hill in space without anyone over the top. And you're going to feed our, green rookie that's played 20 snaps? Like, come on. I don't know. That was crazy. Just instantly seeing that matched up on like the first drive of the game, I was like, wow, Ron found a way to be worse than Jack Del Rio. Like, I didn't like Jack Del Rio. I don't think he's made for the modern NFL, but at least he's got a brain, right? Ron Rivera is just guessing out there. It's brutal. He should have obviously been fired last year. He should have been fired earlier this year. He should have been fired after that game. So there's no point in me continuing to say it, but it needs to happen.
Yeah, no, and Sam Howell, dude, he cashed me out a little bit in DK. Had my lineup with him. Just unfortunately, just couldn't keep it close enough to keep throwing that ball. So I might as well get right into my play there. Which was, where are you, buddy? There he is. Sam Howell over 39.5 pass attempts. They couldn't even. I thought he might have a chance after like that second quarter when they scored that first touchdown. I'm like, just get the ball back, man. Just get the ball back and just could not block anybody. They started running Antonio Gibson in between the tackles, bro, which was I get it. Brian Robinson was out, but really? That's what you're gonna try and do? Like, how is they're not behind the line of scrimmage tosses? How does Terry McLaurin not get a screen? How does Dotson not get like slants across the like the middle was open? Like,
yeah,
all that. No Logan Thomas yards. Logan Thomas had 0 catches. Terry McLaurin had 0 catches. It was just, man, like what was your game plan here, bro? Like you knew they had a good pass rush. It was just, oh my god.
That's a really good question, actually. Well, I'd pay money to see what the game plan was coming into this, because and I mean, no one's like, we don't need to rant about this because no one really cares. But they gave up in the third quarter, which is crazy. Washington at the end of the third quarter, like you said, just started running the ball. Like, I get you're down 23 points or whatever, but like, you're not a playoff team. Like, what are you saving these guys for? You have one of the worst rosters in the league. Go out and play a fucking game. You know, get the reps in. Put Diami Brown, whatever. Let them throw it. Like, just running the ball in the third quarter like that was pretty pathetic. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I wish I would have. I wish I would have just played these ladders on these guys, because I had a lot of Pittman. I have a lot of Pittman in DFS. I had a lot of Pittman in best ball, and he's trying to carry me into the playoffs there. Put up a nice 30-piece on DK this week. Rachaad White doing his thing. Almost outscored Christian McCaffrey this week, which was pretty wild. And dude, Rachaad White, top 5 running back officially now. He's a top 5 fantasy running back, and it is gross. That shit is gross. I watched a lot of that game because I have a lot of Jonathan Mingo and a lot of Rachaad White in fantasy in DFS or best ball. And Mingo was like my second last pick in like 9 of my drafts, just sitting there because I didn't know anybody else, and I remember him from college. So grabbed him. Dude ended up with a nice little 13 on the last week to help me just salvage some of those spots that I got zeros in because I have so many buys. But yeah, thank God Rachaad White. I told you it was going to be like 16 for 40, and then he pops off for a nice 30-yard gain for absolutely no reason in garbage time. But hey, do your thing, Rachaad. We love it. And again, top 5 running back, baby. I would never have thought of that when I drafted him in like the 5th, 6th round of fantasy drafts.
Yeah, I mean, really, we knew the volume would be good, and it really has been. It's been way better than we ever could have thought. So shout out to Rachaad White. He's cashed a lot of tickets for us. I mean, like I said, I've had a lot of success betting his unders on rushing, overs on receiving. I know you've just had a lot of success with him in general. So it's good to just find those guys, find those angles, and keep hammering home. Like I said on Friday, they haven't changed their game plan all year. They're still going to do the same exact thing, and we're going to see it again next week, whoever they're playing. So shout out Rachaad White. Maybe we'll see him on the show again next week.
Yeah, I just
Falcons, so.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have I have Rachaad White in a lot of these fantasy leagues, but they're coming into, I believe Green Bay is playing them soon. I think in 2 weeks. Will be my first one off my bye, or off my week 1 bye or playoff 1 bye, and I'm gonna have to decide between Jordan Love and Baker, bro. But dude, I'm a roll with Jordan Love, bro. Like, dude, 30-piece last 2 weeks. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's get to our recap here. Purdy just didn't really have to throw it that much, huh? After that, I thought he was going to crank this after the first quarter, to be honest.
Well, he had 0 in the first quarter, I believe, and he ended with 19. So you miss a quarter right here. Don't feel bad. Like, I would have played this again. Obviously, I think this is a good call right here. They just unfortunately destroyed Philly so bad that it got out of hand, which is always a possibility with games. I just wish some of those 80-yard yak plays could have been like 30 yards, and then we have to throw again. But that's life.
Yeah, dude, make a fucking tackle, man. God damn. I watched that Debo one. I'm like, oh, yeah. Fuck, he's going to do this, ain't he? He's going to do this, ain't he? And then, at least it was Debo. At least he made it entertaining when he scores. At least at least it was like, I got at least to watch that. At least him go up to the fans and pretty much tell him to fuck off, which was funny. This dude just dancing in the end zone for half the thing. 27% owned in my big contest. I would have won big this week, but I had no Debo. And I went on the Christian McCaffrey route and stayed away from Debo. And obviously that did not pan out well. I should have been up. I was up in like the top 50 of a pretty big contest. And just watching the Debo Purdy stacks, they were like 24% Purdy, 26% Debo. And I'm like, just run the clock out, bro. Like, just you're up You're up 35, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, CMC's going to hit the 100-yard mark. We're at the 50 with 7 minutes left. And then the one thing I couldn't happen, and I right down. I was so mad. But hey, we'll see, man. At least that was a good game, at least to watch. I don't know how this did not hit, did it? It was at 280.
Yeah, landed on 280 exactly. Hopefully you got it on Bet Rivers. I mean, it was 276. Like I won the bet and I lost on the show. You know what I mean? Like it sucks. Yeah, getting the best number is always important. Have as many books as you can. Took the L on the show right here. Blowout killed both of them, obviously, but once again, you play this 80,000 out of 80,000 times, so it is what it is. Ended on 280 exactly. I believe even Mike White. I don't know if he completed the completion, but I know he at least had an attempt at the end of the game as well. So ended on the hook on a 280 passing yards is pretty hard to do, and we lucked our way into it here. So hopefully we got some good karma coming to us next week after those two.
24 pass attempts only for Tua in that game, and still 280. I think he only had like 18 completions.
Yeah,
and he still got 280. Just it's that's betting for you, and yeah, it's tough to see after that because the first half he had like 200. Shout out Ron Rivera for just running the football out. Fucking third quarter. I was watching. I was infuriated, bro. I was just watching that, just like what is going on. All right. Takeaways from week 13, Stu. What is your biggest takeaway from the week? Obviously, a lot of good football games, a lot of high-scoring games. What do you take away there?
Well, I mean, I feel like it's on the top of my mind since it was the last game. Is Jordan Love good now? Like, what is going on? I mean, that was my first, that can't not be your takeaway if you watched last night. You're like, because then you obviously watched the Thanksgiving game as well. So now you've seen back-to-back games against good teams where you just cook these guys. And the whole problem the first half of the year is you guys came out and you were just awful in the first half, and then you looked good in the second half. So the whole world was kind of like, well, it's prevent defense. It's kind of hard to take that seriously. But I mean, this is serious, right? Those are the scripted plays. LaFleur is somehow in his bag. All he needed is like a worse running back. Like, maybe you guys just need to get the worst possible running back every year, and suddenly you'll be good now. I don't know what it is, but that obviously sticks out as one of the biggest things to me is just, man, Jordan Love. And the other thing I'll throw in there too, Shane Steichen. If you're a Colts fan, you guys got a good one. I'd sign this guy to. I mean, this guy has your terrible team competing every single week. Like the Colts are in every game every week, and it makes no sense. You look at the box score, you get confused. Shout out to Shane Steichen. Whatever they're doing down there in Indy, it's working. There's not going to be a big bandwagon because nobody cares about Indy. But hey, that's a team that you want to buy right now because they're only going up.
In a rivalry week, right? Doing that too, right, against Tennessee. A lot of stuff not going their way. Their special teams comes through. I had Indy in that one. I was really high up in the money. I had Indy's defense at 4% ownership. Obviously, score us a touchdown, 2 block kicks, 5 sacks. Like it was so nice. But yeah, that was a fun one to watch. Obviously, I think, to be honest, I'm going to answer that LaFleur question. I think it's because he tried to give AJ Dillon enough carries, right? When Aaron Jones is there, and you have to give Aaron Jones the ball. So it's like Jordan Love was attempting like 28 passes a game, 25 passes a game. And now it's like, oh, we can just pass running backs the ball. It's like, oh, that's weird, dude. That's how this works. That's how quarterbacking works. And shout out to these young receivers. Really hope Christian Watson's all right, dude. Oh my God, bro. Just can't keep him healthy, but dude's a dog out there, man. This is what we expected him to do as one of those big picks for us. Shout out Jaden Reed again. Dobbs doing his thing. Even Tucker Kraft. Fuck, dude. All these dudes are showing out. Youngest team in football. Makes it more fun to watch. And obviously showed out in that game. I'm going to go down that reffing hole there and just be like, I understand the pass interference was a bigger call, but dude, they fucked up 8 calls in that last 2 minutes, bro. Like, come on now. 8. Like, it was like every call was wrong.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't have also had that play if that lady comes down here. Fuck, he was not. His forward progress was done, bro. How are you calling him out of bounds? He was fucking getting pushed backwards. Like, what are we doing here, dude? Like, roll the fucking clock. Then he wouldn't have even had to throw that ball because it was 3rd and 6, and you can't spike it, right? So it's like, my God, dude, it was probably 5 straight. Now it was just my Twitter fingers going crazy on that because I was livid, bro. Because I'm like, they shouldn't even have this chance. And I'm like, Mahomes gonna pull a Rodgers because that's what happens in Lambeau. Crazy shit always happens in Lambeau. Mahomes gonna start to visit there and throw a bomb in there. Taylor Swift is there. It all added up for him to complete that fucking touchdown at the end, and I'm like, so yeah, my Twitter fingers were going crazy on that one there.
Yeah, I mean, as someone, I was feeling kind of sick yesterday. Was not feeling good at all. But I have a show after all the games end, and we're just sitting there in the stream yard with AC. And all I've been trying to do is just get this show done so I can go the fuck to sleep all day. You know what I mean? Like you're sick, you're not feeling great, and we're just sitting here, and it's call after call. It took us like 30 minutes to get the show going because that last drive took so long. And I mean, I didn't have a bias. I had literally no bets on that game. It obviously felt like it's the classic, let's give Kansas City a shot to make us some money from the NFL. But like MVS wasn't out, but it's the Tom Brady. Like anyone that's watched the NFL for so long knows that it's not like cheating. You can call it rigged, whatever you want. It's just in these big moments historically, they give the guys that maybe have earned it a break. And it is what it is. It's the NFL. But the point is, I've seen that. If you've watched football your whole life, you've seen some version of that stupid MBS call your whole life, whether it's watching the Patriots or now the Chiefs. If you're a football fan, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's that borderline that, like, there was no way the clock should have stopped right there. Zero, that anyone could have called that. It just brings up the more important thing of why can we not call, like baseball, call New York, hey, that was not a fucking foul. Go back quick. That takes 30 seconds, right? These guys have amazing technology. I get the delay would be a little bit annoying at first. I don't understand within 2 minutes why we can't look at that. No other time you want to fuck up, that's okay. Within 2 minutes, the game on the line, we need to be able to get that stuff right. And I don't understand why the NFL is still resistant to doing that. But just brutal stuff right there. And hey, I don't know. Calls fucked both teams up there at the end. I agree that the pass interference is what everyone gleamed onto at the end right there, but they wouldn't have made it that far if their drive wasn't artificially saved a couple times on the way. So just a shit show of a game.
Yeah, no, it was such a good game to watch too. Like as a Packers fan, obviously it was good to watch, but it's like it was a good football game. Like defenses played well. Ended up dude. Shout out Quay Walker, bro. Absolute fucking wagon, dude. 8.5 at plus money. Grab that fucking right away. That shit was nice. He had like 14 tackles yesterday, dude. There's a fucking beast. Also, you kind of got to talk about San Francisco Eagles too, dude. Like that San Francisco front, man. That shit is nice, dude. They are so good. They just could not get, like, obviously Lane Johnson. Shout out Lane Johnson. I'm going to talk shit on the Eagles there, and they didn't play well, but Lane Johnson shutting down Bosa, bro. Like I was watching that a lot, and it was pretty cool to watch. Just two all pros, best at their craft, do that thing against each other, man. It was pretty wild to watch, man. Fun game to watch for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, when we thought about this weekend, the Eagles 49ers was, the game we were all looking forward to, so to be able to sit back, enjoy, do some shit talking, obviously. All the Eagles guys have been doing their shit talking all year long, so it's good to see them get theirs as well. Got put in their place a little bit. And I even saw the pivot too. It's funny at the end of like, Eagles needed this. We need to get kicked in the face. Everyone. It's like a very funny pivot of like we're gonna destroy these guys. You know what? Everyone's got to get humbled every once in a while, which is a true statement. Everyone does have to be humbled, but it is just very funny to watch. Obviously, Twitter was very enjoyable after that loss yesterday.
Bro, I was so happy. I just needed to see it happen, dude. After that shit happened with Greenlaw in there, I'm like, just run these dudes out. Like, I have no beef with any of these teams, bro. The only beef I have is Chicago teams. I don't like them. But how do you like this dude, bro? Like, how do you toss a guy it's a staff member, bro? That's literally a staff member. That's like a trainer going out there. Like, oh my God, dude. I was like, dude, I've never seen this before. That's so dumb. How is this fair, bro? You know what's going to happen next week? You're going to see the head trainer for a team run out there and punch the fucker in the face and then get tossed, and that guy's going to retaliate. And guess what? You lose your all-pro. Yeah, guess what? I'd lose that one, right? I'll lose our head trainer, so the starting middle linebacker goes out of the game. Like, that's pretty much what happened. It's just like, how do you let this shit happen? Like, I'm curious what the NFL is going to do about it.
Well, it's a good question because, like, You take that trade 100 out of, like, if you can like logistically do this where you have a coach up there that can just go shove somebody back, and you should just theoretically do that as much as you can during the game, because all the upside is getting the player kicked out. Like you said, if that's going to be a one-to-one thing where a staff member can come up and shove a player back and then the player throws his hand up in his face, people were saying that's a punch. I mean, I don't know if you ever been punched in the face. He put his hand near his hand, right? I mean, he got a little nose or whatever. That's not a fucking punch. I mean, come on. That was like a what are you doing? You know, like, why are you touching me kind of thing. So to see that and to see the equal punishment enforced on both of those guys was insane. But I mean, like you said, if you're a coach seeing this, you got to try it yourself. That's an amazing trade. Kick our security guy out of every fucking game. Who cares? Go start some fights out here. Let's see if we can get some guys ejected, because Dre Greenlaw is like a top 15 linebacker in the fucking league. Getting that guy out of the game is a huge deal right there. So it will be interesting to see if that does have any kind of hidden effects. Because what you just said, I didn't even thought about that. The whole that's a like something's got to happen. It feels like from that, unless these coaches are smart guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious if we see some kind of, I don't know. I don't even know where this goes, but that's a very interesting, point to think about right there. Maybe we see more security guards up on the line of scrimmage now on.
Yeah, I know. And my favorite part was watching they did like the videos of everybody around them, and Sirianni goes up to the ref. You better get kicked out. I'm like, all right, well, this fucker better get fined then too. Like, this dude better be fined like as much as Greenlaw is about to get fined, because they're going to fine him for that shit, and he didn't do anything. Pacheco should get fined. How much is Pacheco going to get fined? Maybe 9 times whatever that fucker got fined. That dude straight up tried to take this dude's head off. And I'm like, what are we doing here, bro? Like,
that was the most
Keyshawn Nixon, too? Like, our third string corner, bro. Like,
that was the most random play of the game. It was like the biggest play of the game is happening on the other side of the field, and the announcer's like, oh, by the way, Isaiah apparently got up and punched Keyshawn. It's like, why did, and then they showed us that it wasn't even that, like, nothing happened. I don't know. That was hilarious, honestly, because that was the Mahomes out of bounds hit play. Like, that was the biggest play of the game. And then, oh, by the way, Pacheco just punched someone in the face over there. I don't know what that was.
No, it was the play that the fumble was getting recovered and brought back.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, all these coaches were telling him to go down. And if you saw the flags and he's down, why wouldn't you run it out, right? Because they just they don't add the clock back. They let it roll out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, keep running. Yeah, Jason brings up a good point about the Eagles, man. That was terrible watching that. Like, Debo didn't even get touched, bro.
Nope.
Jawan Jennings just chucked him. Like, dude, it's just nice because you don't have, like, there's no excuses on that, right? If it was like a 1-score game and it's like all this shit happens, it's like, dude, you just got whopped, right? I mean, that just happens. But San Francisco looked legit, man, and it kind of takes away the everybody saying, oh, it wouldn't have mattered if Purdy played. Well, kind of did. Dude just fucking went almost perfect passer rating on you and threw for 300. So it's like, I think it would have mattered a little bit if he played. So I guess that is all. You got anything else here?
No, I don't think so. I was just reading the comments right there, trying to get an eject to find out again. I mean, it's a reasonable thing to think about, because
that's the first thing I thought about. That's my first. I mean, I don't know if that makes me like a fucking crazy person because no one thinks about this shit. But I'm like, bro, bring my trainer out here, put some fucking gloves on, and throw one. Like, who cares? You might get punched in the face, but guess what? Do it for the team. Just keep rotating people. You're good.
Hey, and if you ask a trainer to go out there and get punched for his team, he will. I guarantee it. Most of these staff members, they bleed for that team, baby. I've been around them. Even the low-level guys, like, that you meet at these places, they're like into it, So if you tell me, hey, go out there and talk your shit, you don't have to be quiet. This is anyone. We can do whatever we want on the sideline over here. I don't know. We're not trying to start anything, but I'm glad you thought of that, because I didn't. And that's an interesting concept. I'm just curious, even like watching the All-22 next week, just to see if there are more like people close, just to see if anyone's thought of that. I don't know who the like sharp coaches are that would try something like that, because you probably got to be a little bit grimy, to go in with the idea of doing that. But it'll be something to look out for. The fines will be what their punishment is, though. Obviously, they're gonna find this mafia guy like $50K or whatever. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I'm just saying, like, I don't even know if it was makeup calls. I just think that they just were like scared. because of how bad they were earlier in that makeup call. You get it. I understand it. But it's just like when you fuck up that many times, man, it's tough. I don't know, man. Maybe I should be coaching and shit now. Fuck. Maybe I should be the guy out there saying, hey, go take one in the mouth for the team. Give us a little incentive bonus at the end of the year if you take one. You get a nice 50K bonus if you can get this guy ejected, bro. Like,
I'd be so good at that. If anyone's ever played pickup basketball with me would know I'd be so good at that. Just standing on the sideline, being annoying, getting someone to punch you. Like that sounds like my dream job. I would love to go do that. Just annoy these these guys are like they're real motherfuckers. You know what I mean? They're not playing around out there. Like they'll go hit you. They're hitting each other. It's not like a big difference right there. So I don't know. Very, very funny thing. Obviously, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm sure more people are actually mad out there, but it is what it is. It'll be curious to see at least what those fines are. That's my first,
I mean, dude tried to literally murder Favre, bro. Like actually kill him. Oh yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, can you imagine just taking out the best defensive lineman in the fucking game just to talk
Miles
that shit?
Garrett? Another one? Like, yeah. Fuck with these guys. I mean, the players are, it's very interesting. I don't know. I'm curious what the NFL does in response. It'll probably be nothing. It'll probably be some short fines. But yeah, I'm glad we talked about that because that is an interesting thing. I'm going to be watching these Broncos closely because they already played dirty. They got the dirtiest player in the league over there. He's suspended 4 games now for like 80 head hits. So we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Sounds good. Let's, I know we talked a little longer on our recap, but it's because this game kind of sucks, but 10-point favorites. I'm on the DraftKings here. I see 9.5 on FanDuel, but we have the Bengals at 10-point dogs, Jaguars 10-point favorites, 40 total, right on the number, -110 each side. Stu, which of the 4 sides we taking here if we had to?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take Jacksonville. I think as the heavy favorite. I don't hate Browning actually that much, but like it's about how a team is built, right? And this team, like Joe Burrow, is the heart that makes the engine go. I know they have other players around them that are solid that make it easier to justify them being a good-ish team without him. Because we've seen teams go from top 5 to middle of the pack. I think they fall to like bottom 5. I think they're going to be a bottom 5 team. And I don't think the market, it's kind of getting there, but I don't think it's quite gotten there. I already bet Jacksonville +3 for next week with the anticipation that they beat their asses so bad this week that the line moves. So I'm kind of thinking that, it's going to be a little, I just don't see the Bengals being able to score when they go down. Like we know Jacksonville can at least score. I don't see how the Bengals can respond enough to cover the spread. So for me, it's probably got to be the Jaguars.
I mean, can you do anything in a primetime game outside of betting an under, right? I mean, is that can you do anything else? Like I know you talked about this, I think 2 weeks ago on like these unders have been insane, but like you said, like how do the Bengals score here outside of Chase making a crazy play, outside of Higgins just winning in a one-on-one toss-up ball, right? I just don't know how they move the ball down the field. The Jaguars want you to pass, right? That's really what they're trying to do. It's just like they're a pass funnel like 2 steps down from what the Titans are, right? The Titans are just like the biggest pass funnel ever. And Jacksonville's right up there with them, wanting you to do it. So it's like you're going to have somebody win a one-on-one matchup. I don't think that there's going to be enough time either. I think the Jaguars are just going to send the freaking house at this dude, and you're going to have to stand in the pocket and take one in the chin to get it up to your guy. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to do that. I don't have enough trust in Browning. Just looks a little bit like the game's too fast right now, at least last week. It just looked too fast for him. I'm going to have to say the under. I think the Jaguars probably get their team total, right? I think the Jaguars probably are able to get there. So if I had to pick a side of the game, I would be with you on the Jaguars. But, I mean, looking at the team totals here, we're seeing the Bengals team total at 13.5, -120. On DraftKings, we're seeing a 24.5 total for the Jaguars there. I think that's pretty fair. But if I had to pick a side to go over it, I definitely think the Jaguars have a chance to kind of run away with this game on our end.
Yeah, and I mean, 12-1 Monday Night Football unders on the season so far. I mean, wow, like that's kind of hard to beat right there. And I mean, my only thing I guess I'll say, I know this is kind of corny. I like the under when everyone likes the over. Like when everyone agrees, like, oh, primetime unders, and then agrees on the under, that's when it's a little bit tougher for me. But when everyone, generally agrees on the over, that's when but it's always been going under. So I can't really make that argument here too much. But that would be my only one concern is like, it's kind of almost too obvious, it's like primetime unders. The Bengals can't score. Like for me, all those combined, I'd rather just risk it and take Jacksonville. But I agree with you. I think the logic is very good right there.
Yeah, I don't mind Joseph's thought here. Browning rushing with Jaguars pass rush looking better, getting some scrambles. 12.5 rushing prop. Probably ain't gonna have to worry about the kneel downs, I guess, on there. But I don't know. I remember seeing him in college a couple times there, but it's just like when a game is that fast, it's tough for me to want to back him. And I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stick to Jaguar side here for a lot of the stuff that I want to play today.
Yeah, you nailed it. I played the rushing last week, actually. I'm pretty sure I was the only person to do that because it came out pretty late. And because it was good in college, solid in preseason, all that stuff. I actually think your analysis of that was perfect. Like he had opportunities to scramble. I believe he had 1 6-yard scramble was his end rushing thing in the end. No designed runs. I was hoping he'd at least have one, but that was a quick start, so maybe he does now. But I think you actually nailed it perfectly. I think the game was just moving too fast. Like he had chances to scramble. I think he had that thing of like, what do I do? Do I scramble? Do I throw it away? Do I try to make a play? And that just leads to you not making a play because it's an instinct thing. So I noticed the same exact thing, and that's what's holding me back because there are chances he could just bolt and take it, but I'm just not sure if the team may not be asking him to put his injury at right. Don't go out there and run because in the post game he's like, oh, I'm not sneaky athletic. I'm athletic, baby. I don't know where the sneaky comes. He's talking all that shit. I'm thinking he's going in there with that swagger to back it up. Maybe the coaching staff is possibly saying, listen, buddy, we don't need you to go out there and run it. We're trying to stay in games. We need you to hand it off and check the ball down. So that's my biggest concern right there, game planning standpoint. But I agree with the logic. I think I'll end up on a 25 plus like alt line kind of thing at plus money rather than, staking more on a higher, 12.5 number.
Yeah. And I mean, so for me, at least, this is kind of the way when I bet on rushing quarterbacks, or at least guys that are not getting the designed runs. Like, what is the ADOT of these dudes, right? And you're not going to see Jamar Chase running down the field like he was with Burrow, right? You're going to be seeing 8, 12 yards probably at the max. Joe Mixon's receiving prop is minus 180 to over 2.5 catches. That pretty much just tells me they're not going to want this dude to run. It's going to be, if there's an option there, you're going to throw it away because you get behind the sticks. It's just like the Niners yesterday, right? That first quarter, the first 2 drives, the Eagles got them behind the sticks, dude. They were like 2nd and 14, 2nd and 20, right? And they couldn't overcome it, right? And that's what I expect here is like if the Cincinnati Bengals go down and it's 2nd and 12, they're not going to get it, bro. They're not getting that shit. Like they know they got to stay in front of the sticks. And I think they're going to say, hey, if anybody's close to you, you throw the shit away. I know you want to make something happen, but we ain't got backups to really help you out here. So find a way, don't get hit, and let's see what happens here.
Yeah, no, I agree. And hey, I mean, I think that was actually really good analysis for a random quarterback rushing prop. So hopefully you guys got something out of that one before we transition into our actual props here.
Yep, we got one more question from the Juice there. I see Ingram on DraftKings at minus 160, so I don't think I can be there. Don't mind that spot for Lawrence. I just think that if this game gets the way we think it's going to get, it's tough for me to think they're going to want him to run designed runs. Is Hubbard playing and is they're all in?
Hubbard, I'm pretty sure is playing. I'm pretty sure. I don't know about the whole injury report right now, but I'm pretty sure Hubbard is in.
Okay. I know that they had defensive end injuries and all that. So just a thought there to maybe get them running out of the pocket there. Get your kneel downs at the end as well, hopefully.
That's true. The kneel down's always clutch. I'll say Ingram, like you said, juiced up, really popular. I had nothing bad to say against that since he gets crushed by these tight ends. But for Trevor, I mean, I like it. Trevor's been running a lot actually recently. I know the books know this because I went to go place his touchdown bet and it was 300. This guy bet like 600 for the last couple of years, a touchdown easily. You know what I mean? Not even like an off market number. So to see the whole market was like 270, 280, it's like, okay, they know he's running now too. So for me, I don't know if there's really any value here. I think it's solid. I think the rush attempts is where I'd go with the kneel downs 100% with that in play right there. And generally, I mean, Trevor's a great runner. I think there's potential right here. He's got the designed runs. It's just like, is the game script going to be good enough? For me, not good enough to make it an official bet.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't want to have too many bets in this game, to be honest. Perfectly okay with having a smaller card on this primetime game. All right, Stu. Looks like we got through all the questions. Time to get after our plays today. I'll let you kick it off. We'll be talking about the same guy today.
Yep. Travis Etienne over 66.5 rush yards, minus 115 over on, or sorry, minus 110 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Got to get every 5 cent you can right there. But yeah, for me, the reason just to be honest, I thought this when I came into the week, it was one of the first things that I checked off as something that I wanted to play. It opened at 66.5. I want to put it out then, but obviously had some other stuff come out. I thought this would be like 71, 72 by the time the show came around. And to be honest, if that happened, I would have probably still eaten it then and still taken it because I think the price, in my opinion, should probably be around 73, 74. And then I expected to open up Twitter and see this to be an extremely popular play. And I couldn't find anyone else even playing it, about this one. And I was just about to go. Hugh goes, "Are you worried about the ETN rib injury?" I mean, that would be the one concern, but it's interesting to see people are still bent on the receptions. They're still bent on the receiving yards, right? They're bent on everything else except the rush yards. I think the rib injury it's obviously a pain tolerance thing, which at the end of the day can be a little bit annoying, but the guy's going to suit up, he's going to go out there. That could obviously hurt him a little bit in the fourth quarter, let's say, right? If you're up 30-10, that's when things get a little bit crazy. But to me, the most important thing you got to remember is how did they get to that 31st, right? How do you take your player out, one of your best offensive players out? What's the situation to do that? Well, it's when you're crushing the other team. And in my opinion, if they are crushing the Bengals, I think ETN is going to have a big part of it. So is he going to marginally maybe lose 3 carries? Probably. I think so. I mean, I don't think he's going to get 24 carries. But to me, when you look at the game log this season and you see a guy that's consistently hitting that 18 mark, that 24 mark, that 23 mark, that's very interesting. That's a bell cow running back right there. And I mean, Tank Bigsby hasn't given anyone any reason to be really scared all season long. So now we're shifting our attention to Dearnest Robinson, really? Or Johnson? I thought it was Johnson. Okay, Johnson. He said Robinson. I'm going to blame that on the chat right there. But like that's who we're pivoting to as a guy that's legitimately going to take away real usage from our guy. I don't necessarily think so right here. When you look at ETN's last couple of weeks, obviously ended up going out last week with the ribs. But before that, right, we're seeing brutal matchup after brutal matchup. San Francisco, Tennessee, and Houston in 3 straight weeks is very, very bad for a running back, right? Those are matchups you wouldn't expect a guy to do that. So considering right here the fact that now we get him in a new week against a terrible rush defense right here. It's a complete swap, right? You're not dealing with the 49ers where you're getting crushed anymore. You're not dealing with that tight and stout defensive line that you can pass all over. You're dealing with the Bengals, which is one of the most subpar rush defenses in the league right here. So in my opinion, I think Jacksonville has a lot of success, whether it's through the air or on the ground. I think they dominate this game. I think they control the game script. I think ETN is a big part of that. He's a very explosive rusher. We know how talented this guy is overall. If we're going to give him 14 carries, I think he can get there. But if you're going to tell me there's a possibility for 17, 18 carries in a game script where we're comfortably leading for a good amount of this game, then I'm going to take it because I think ETN's a really talented back. I think this should be extremely popular. And I think that people are talking themselves out for fair reasons. But I think if you want to go a little bit deeper, we bet on guys that are injured almost weekly. I mean, that's part of betting on the NFL. There's a risk to that inherently. If you don't want that risk, I completely understand that. I'm not going to hate on you for dealing with a guy that is questionable. But from all the beat reporters I've read, he's practiced, ready to go. Coaches are saying good things. I think he suits up. I think he touched the ball at least 15 times. I think that's good enough to get the job done against a terrible rush defense. I would have probably priced this 73, 74. So even with the inherent risk of injury right here, I'm still going to take Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and don't underestimate that extra day, man. Monday, right? You get an extra day of rest, right? Especially on an injury like that. I mean, I've had rib issues, I've had oblique issues, so I kind of know how it feels on those. And every day counts, especially when you have the trainers like that and the staff like that. A week is crazy amount of time for these guys to get a little bit better, feel a little bit better there. And we'll talk about the same guy. I'm just going to be rolling with straight touchdown. FanDuel has us at 145. We're seeing 125 on DraftKings. I am not a touchdown better. I'm not a huge anytime touchdown better, unless it's like a pretty big price on a guy I think that has a much better opportunity. But man, how do you not go here, right? Let's just go a little bit into these last couple games for the Bengals, right? Last week, played against the Steelers, Najee Harris, 99 and a touchdown, right? Then you go to the Ravens, Gus Edwards, 2 touchdowns in that one. Go back down, give up 150 and a touchdown to Devin Singletary in his first start without Dameon Pierce, right? Then you go up against, obviously, Josh Allen, who is pretty much their running back one. He scored a touchdown, right? You go down to the Niners, of course. Christopher McCaffrey scored a touchdown. Then you go to another game, right? You go back down. Kenneth Walker score a touchdown, right, dude? Like they're giving it up to the number one option pretty much every single time in these. Pretty much every time they're in the red zone, right? I mean, they're getting the opportunities. Looking at ETN, I understand the rib issue. I thought about it too, and it's just like if he didn't have that, I would. How is this not like minus 170? You know what I mean? I think they're pricing it like that is in there already. And also, I like the inside the 20-yard line. He is getting 76.5% of the options there. As a guy who's not a huge back, that's important because obviously those are the easier ones to score in. I love how you talked about Tennessee. I loved how you talked about San Francisco as the last 3. Because if you look at him, right, everybody, I mean, he was the MVP for your guys' fantasy teams through the first half of the season because this dude could not stop scoring touchdowns, right? 2 touchdowns against the Buffalo Bills, 2 against Indy, 2 against the Saints. But then Pittsburgh, not a bad rush defense, right? Obviously, 3.3 yards per carry is not great. Then San Francisco, you get 30 ball. Tennessee wants you to pass. And then, yeah, Houston. But he got 26 opportunities in that game, right? He has the passing upside as well. I'm not even a fan of Bigsby. I didn't even know how he got drafted, to be honest. I mean, as a college football guy, don't understand that, but that is a whole different story. Am I worried about Dearness Johnson getting touches from him? No, he has 8% of the touches inside of the 20-yard line this season. I'm not worried there. And I think they're going to try to get him in the end zone. He hasn't scored in 4 weeks, right? When you're used to scoring that much, you score 6 touchdowns in 3 weeks, and then you haven't scored, right? I think they try to force him in there. I love that he has the receiving touchdown upside there. I really, really want to get this in right now because I think this should move down. I think people are going to start throwing him into parlays closer towards the start of the game. So right now, I lock this in. I wouldn't be surprised to see this at minus 160, minus 150 by game time, and FanDuel giving us a really good price here. It's really hard to not look at the data from these other teams, right? They're showing you what to do against these guys, right? I can't get over it. And I'll talk about my best ball lineup that I have him in here in a second. But yeah, dude, how do I get away from minus 125 on a dude that's going to have this big of a command over this backfield?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's one of those situations where it's hard to say value, when you look at a minus 125, but then when you maybe compare it a little bit more to some of the past games, right, where you consistently saw minus 166 is the best option, and you saw the minus 175, right? I mean, Christian McCaffrey, we probably would have bitched about minus 130 earlier in the year, and now there's not been a week where you got him under minus 200. And while they're not similar players, they do have that rare thing you get from a guy where they're able to score in multiple different ways, right? A reason why some of these guys like Deebo Samuel can be such a valuable touchdown bet, because not only will he get wide receiver snaps, he'll get running back snaps. Same with a guy like Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they're splitting not only receiving, but rushing. And that gives you so much I don't know what's that word. You can do so much as an offensive
valuable maybe.
Well, yeah. You add a lot of value. You add a lot of unpredictability to your offense when you have a guy in the backfield that could take it right up the middle and score on you, or could fake the handoff, run around the corner, and beat your linebacker one-on-one. Right. That's why these dual threat running backs are so popular in the NFL right now, especially in the red zone. So ETN being able to catch a pass, to break a big play, and then also having a good chunk of those red zone carries, to me, just kind of completes the trifecta of things you're looking for. So I like ETN right here. I think it's a good spot.
Yeah, no, and I mean, so I know Trevor Lawrence has done good in primetime rushing the ball. Play them both, right? I mean, you're getting 3-1, right? You're getting 300. You know what I mean? Like, take it then. Take them both.
I almost played it last week, though, and I don't know. Maybe this is just my own stupidity, but seeing 300 when you're used to 800 is in 600 and 550 is like, come on now. I'm seeing the best price is 370, but I agree with you. I probably might sprinkle on the Trevor TD as well. But once again, I've already made it clear. I think they take care of business here. So I think there's plenty of room for multiple guys. But Trevor Hurts, that's a good one right there because he does love to steal those little goal line carries sometimes.
Yeah, let's recap here, and I got a couple things I do want to talk about yet before we go into our long shot here, because mine is going to be probably the most D-Jenny long shot you've ever seen, and it's probably got a 1% chance of hitting, but we'll talk about it here in a second. Stu, we'll start out with your play here.
Sounds good. Travis Etienne over 66.5 rushing yards, -110 right now over on FanDuel Sportsbook.
Yep, and I'll be on him as well to score a touchdown at -125. I know this is a terrible game for long shots, Stu, but do you got anything there that's catching your eye at all?
I just have the same thing. You could just put an AI generator for backup tight ends. I bet Drew Sample to score a touchdown at 17-1. Drew Sample is not a good wide receiver. He can't catch very well, but he is the best blocking tight end in football, according to PFF. And what that does for you is it gives you opportunities. And at 17-1, all you're asking for is an opportunity. So not something you want to be super aggressive on, but there's not much competition in this tight end room, and he's going to be out there for blocking purposes against a strong Jacksonville line. The other thing I'll say, Plus Money Bob mentioned in the chat already, Johnson last touchdown is something I'll also be sprinkling. It's something I always do when you have a somewhat viable running back. I don't know what the best price on market is right there. I still love the ETN touchdown. It's nothing against that, but I think these last touchdown bets are always just going to give you some inherent value when you're able to clearly see who's going to get those late down touches. And it probably, I guess Bigsby could steal it is the only scary part, but I think it's worth a shot to sprinkle on. Maybe I'll sprinkle Bigsby and Johnson last touchdown because it's going to be really good prices. So just, $3-5. I don't want anyone to put any real money on these. I think this game's going to absolutely suck, but I want something to root for at the end of the game at least.
All right, Stu. I'm gonna go down a D-Jenny rabbit hole here, buddy. I'm going to go to the person that is ranked second lowest odds to score a touchdown today on the whole fucking board. And the only reason is I loved him in college. Hasn't got a touchdown this year.
Okay.
But I think this game's a fucking blowout, and I don't think Mixon's making it to the end of this game with the injury trouble and everything that we've seen. Sign me up for Chase Brown. Chase fucking Brown to score me a touchdown here. He has no touchdowns on the season. He has absolutely no fantasy value. But I don't know if, as a Big Ten guy, I watched a lot of Big Ten football. This dude found the end zone, man. This dude always found a way to score. Every single time, didn't matter if it was in the receiving game. He's got that upside. Obviously, he hasn't shown it in the NFL, but he was on the IR for 4 weeks. Came back last week, didn't play. So obviously, you're not like thinking he is going to get many touches, if any at all, even if he finds a way into the game. But this dude had 328 carries in his last season in college. He had 27 receptions, 13 touchdowns in the Big Ten on an awful team on Illinois. They were not good. All I'm saying is I've watched this guy play a lot. I know he's got the upside to do it. Dude's just not playing. And the way I think this game goes is they get blown out and we don't see ETN in the fourth quarter. Why would they want to trot out Joe Mixon out there? Right? You don't have a Samaje Perine no more. You got Travion Williams or whatever the fuck his name is there. Why wouldn't you want to see the rookie? Why wouldn't you want to see the rookie get those chances? Right? At 30-1 to just find a way to sneak in the end zone when I know he can do it? Fuck it. This game sucks. At least I'm taking a 30-1 shot.
Yeah, my only problem is just that it seems like if you were to do this, I would probably just take Travion Williams because he got the first touch of the game like 3 weeks ago. Like, legitimately, he got the first fucking touch of the game, which is like, I know Joe Mixon's bad. We all know Joe Mixon's bad. This guy might be a part of their plan for something, and you'd think Chase Brown would be too. But like I said, it seems like he's just buried on the depth chart. And I think if you're a college guy, you automatically instantly smile when you hear that name because this guy carried the ball like 30 times a game, every game. Like, he was the ultimate, like, just bet on him. Who cares if the number is 131 rush yards? Like, he was that kind of guy. And like you said, 1.5 touchdowns kind of guy was the number, not just one, because that's how their offense was built. So I don't have anything against him. I'm just worried that is crowding both of our judgment and anyone that's watched college to think that maybe he has, more of a chance on the depth chart. I'm just worried like Williams is exactly the guy you're explaining there, and Brown is going to be cut in a week, and I don't want that to happen. I'm not rooting for it, but I mean, I'm seeing Williams at 20-1 for a touchdown as well on Bet Rivers, and I see 16-1 on FanDuel as the next best price. So maybe you do a little bit of a sprinkle on both of them. I think I'll sprinkle all these. I don't know if any of them are going to win or not, but it'll be real awesome if one of them does,
All I'm saying is if you thought he was that guy, right, why would you draft Chase Brown then? You know what I mean? Like, Chase Brown was hurt for the last 5 weeks. He got catches in games before he got hurt. I mean, obviously they're not much, right? I mean, it's not much there, but we just talked about Joe Mixon's receiving prop sitting at like 3. You're nervous for this guy. So could he just turn into that Samaje Perine, turn around, catch it, and run? Maybe. But, yeah, I mean, they drafted Williams, 5 years ago in the 6th round. They just drafted Brown last year. You probably want to see that rookie, man. You want to see that rookie. Dude, this guy's a 26-year-old back, right? Travion Williams got a 23-year-old in your house there that a lot of guys liked coming out of college. So maybe you try to see it because the season's done. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you just, when you throw in the towel, put it up that rookie guy, right? And I mean, we've seen it all the time, those garbage yards, like right when Mike Tirico always says, ooh, that mattered to somebody, right? When he's talking about gambling on TV, he won't ever just say that I almost hit the total. He's like, ooh, that's a very important drive there. And guess what? None of the starters are in. It's going to be Chase Brown fucking scoring 30-1. Hell yeah. Let's go.
Before we go, did you hear that in the Washington game? The commander, you heard that too? He was, oh, what a touchdown. That matters to somebody out there. Like, you can tell Buddy had the over 100%. Dude was fired up in the box when that random touchdown for no reason, towards the midway point of that game. And then he just kind of, he pivoted to the classic. Oh, somebody's happy about that one right now. Like, no, Buddy, you definitely had the over in this game. You're not hiding it from anyone up there. But that was.
What was your odds on Drew Sample? I'm gonna put this in, bro. I have to type it up so we both can have our picture there just in case that one of them goes in.
17-1, baby. 17-1, Drew Sample. But no, I agree. And if you look up Chase Brown on Twitter, just because I'm trying to dig for any beat report or positive quote, if you bet a lot of scrubs, then you're used to this. You got to at least give you something to fire you up. I don't see anything, but I see a lot of guys out there begging them. All the writers are like, please give. So at least there's some like in Bengals world, they're like, the season's over. Like, let us see the rookies at least, which I do think at 30-1. I mean, what else are you asking for? By close, I wouldn't be surprised if some other, people hear about this and it gets down to 20-21. So I agree. I mean, this is a shitty game. We both gave you some long shots that are ugly. Not a lot of people will probably have them, but I think they do give you some solid value at the price. So we'll see what happens right here. Dearness Johnson, I'm firing him up for that last touchdown as well. Hopefully some good things happen.
Yeah, all you need is a shot, man. Just give him a chance. Give him a chance. Best ball. Got to tell you about my options here for best ball here today. So we're sitting here last week, right? Week 13. It's the last week for best ball for your contests. At least on DraftKings. I'm not sure about the other ones. I'm down 9 to the second place guy. And I have Trevor Lawrence. My starting quarterback is Bryce Young. So he needs to beat 8 points to start getting points. So I'm going to need like a 20 piece from Trevor Lawrence today. But I also have the other guy who's got Evan Ingram. He's got Evan Ingram, but he's already got 10. So he's got to get over 10 points to get any points. We're going to need a little 20 piece out of you, Trevor. I'm in the Millie contest over there as well. I'm down 48 points. And I don't have any points for my quarterback, but I got Lawrence and ETN tonight. They need to score me 48 points. And ETN has to get over 8 to get anything. So probably more than that. But we might need some dump downs. We're going to need some dump down touchdowns here. Give me a nice little 3-tutty game, ETN. I mean, you've done it before, buddy. I know you can. You just had an injury scare, Trevor. Let your guy eat a little bit, right? Let your guy eat.
Hey, I'm rooting for you. I have to look at my stuff again. I've got a couple tickets, into like the bigger, like you made it into like, I don't know, something else. But I my best ball is kind of iffy right now. I'm winning a couple $20 contests, winning, some 15s and some 40s as like the second or third. But it doesn't look like I'm unfortunately taking anything down with all those Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp lineups.
Is that underdog or DraftKings?
Underdog.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, in DraftKings, it just moves you to the next round, right? It just moves you. Top 2 just moves me to the next round. And then obviously it comes down to next week. So I should have 4 or 5. I only did about, I think 8 or 9 of the full ones over on DK. So I'm going to need a couple there. We got 3 already through. Got 2 other options that could go over 50%, making it to the final there, which would be or making it to round 2. So I'll be happy. Chase Brown, do your thing, boy. You're scoring that touchdown for your boy today. Imagine that. We call his first touchdown of his career 30-1. Let's do it, baby. Drew Sample. I just knew you're going to bet a backup tight end. I just didn't know if it was which one it was going to be. There's 12 tight ends on the fucking tickets today.
I was gonna say the Jags may be the more obvious pick for it, but they don't have a clear target. I mean, Evan Ingram is kind of just the check down master. I don't really want to who even is their backup tight end? I don't even remember. I think they've got a solid one, but I don't remember.
Didn't they have Arnold before, or is he gone?
He's gone now, though. He's gone. Dan Arnold. Hey, that's a guy I can get some money on, baby. That's a guy you trust right there. You trusted Dan Arnold. He made me some cash. I don't know where he is. He was a legit okay tight end last year, so. He should have a job somewhere. Washington signed this guy up. I don't know. Oh, Strange. There we go. Appreciate that. Yeah, he's a blocker at the end of the day as well. That nothing stuck out to me there. So, I mean, if he cashes the touchdown, I'd be really pissed. That's all I'll say.
All right, Stu, what do you got for the people before we head out? We still got 30 of you guys making an hour with us on this Monday. Appreciate all of you guys. Stu, what do you got for them?
Yeah, I mean, you can find all my stuff over on Twitter at Monotone Football. You can join my Discord, obviously. That's completely free. A lot of the guys in the chat are in there. We got a lot of smart guys talking sports. I don't want to end the show on bad vibes, obviously, but if you follow me on Twitter, you saw me and a bunch of other people that worked over at Sportstopia got fucked over, right? A guy named Daryl Snyder founded this company, hired a guy named Ed Williams, worked at NBC for 20 plus years. All of us love Ed. We went over. We went to work there. It was good. It was a lot of fun. And then we got fucked over. So posted about that. I don't know if anything's going to come from it, but, leaving a like over there. Hope, it's like you get fucked in life. The money isn't going to kill me. At the end of the day, I don't, I'm going to survive. But there are other guys, man, that went through shit, you know what I mean? And need that, and that hurts to see good people getting fucked, so that's all I can really say. It sucks. I don't think anyone in here can really do anything about it. It is what it is. But leaving a like, maybe, fuck that guy. I don't know. Maybe something will come of it. Maybe someone knows the guy. This gets out there enough. Say, hey, that guy works, I don't know. It's life. It sucks, but I would normally not even talk about that kind of thing, but if you don't talk about it, it just gets forgotten, right? And that guy doesn't deserve that, right? It doesn't deserve to just get swept under the rug, and a lot of good people get fucked. So I don't really have much of a platform, but this is what I can do. Hopefully something comes of it, hopefully the guy gets fucked. But I did figure I'd bring it up on here.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you did, because you never know what people got, it's the holidays. It's, you never know what the family's going through either. So, I mean, that's probably a couple grand, man. That's important money, man. It's big money, especially when I know you don't get paid that much for freelance stuff right away, so it's you don't get to you don't even really want to put that on your resume on there either, because you got to deal with hearing about all that shit and all that. But hopefully something comes up there, and you guys are getting something hopefully out of it as well. So happy you did bring it up, and if any of those guys want to pop on the show, we always are open to that, bringing them on the show here and talking sports with us. So maybe we'll see what happens there. Happy that we kind of have our own platform. We don't have to deal with anybody, right? We do our own thing. That's why we're pretty independent and doing our own stuff here. So happy that all you guys continue to join us throughout our year 3, right? So Wednesday, coming back to you guys. We will not talk about football. I promise. I will not ever mention that Patriots anything because my God, that game fucking sucks. So we will be talking NBA. Let me take a peek here. Let's take a peek at Wednesdays.
It might be small in-season tournament slate. Is that what it is?
I think the in-season is this week. So
it's today.
Could be pretty good.
Okay, Wednesday's the first full slate back from the in-season games. Okay, so we got a fucking monster slate on Wednesday, baby. One of the bigger of the year. So that'll be fun. That'll be something to look forward to up on Wednesday.
Let's do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit that like button, please. I know I didn't ask today, but it does really help. I know we ask a lot, but hopefully you guys can just hit that quick before you dip out because it does mean a lot to us. We will see you Wednesday. Hopefully here live with us talking some NBA. So have a good one, guys, and best of luck tonight.